Welcome to the Positively You podcast. I'm your host, Jessie Larson, and I'm passionate about helping you shift the way you think so you can create a life you're absolutely obsessed with. Each week, I'll be bringing you a guest or a thought that's going to help you feel more optimistic and equipped to take real action. Get ready to push past limiting beliefs, ditch that negativity, and start showing up as the best and most positive version of you. Girl, let's do this. Hey fam, we are back, and today it is just a solo episode with me, Jess. That was awkward. It's been a hot minute since it's been just me. We've had some really awesome guest interviews and episodes that I have just loved so much. Each guest that I've had the chance lately to talk with, the conversations have just completely lit me up. They've ignited another fire inside of me and just have helped me to be so freaking grateful that this is what I get to do and that you like to listen. And I'm just loving it so much. So more awesome guest episodes are coming up soon, but today it's just me and you hanging out. We're going to chit chat about a couple of things that I've had on my mind. But first of all, welcome to summer. I realize it's not officially summer until like summer solstice, June 21st, but school is officially out for us. It is summer, and let me tell you, it is crazy town here. I've taken this week to really try to let it just kind of transition into summer. I've let our expectations kind of drop. I've let my alarm turn off and just kind of let the flow of that first week of summer kind of go. But I will say I'm ready to kind of have a little bit more structure back into my day because it's just gotten away from me. But welcome to summer. We're there. We're here. I want to know how you guys are feeling about it. If you're excited, if you love summer, or if you're like, I love the routine and the structure of the school year and summer completely throws you off. I'm a little bit of both. I think that by the time summer rolls around, I'm so excited for it. I'm so burnt out from May that I'm just excited for a little bit more of the freedom and the flow. But then by the time my kids go back to school, I'm like, yes, we need the structure. So I think it's all about being present in the season that you're in and just embracing it and not wishing away the things. And wow, this isn't even the subject that I wanted to talk about today, but maybe this is a subject that we should talk about. I'm going to pencil this in really quick and maybe record another episode as soon as I'm done with this one. But what I wanted to talk about today is the idea of living a healthy lifestyle and what that even means. We hear that so much, I think we've gotten away from, or we're trying to get away from that diet culture and that crazy yo-yo dieting and super strict thing and being it's a lifestyle. But I think even within that, we're still not grasping or understanding what that really means. It still feels like it is a quote unquote diet or a thing to do. You're either in this zone or this mindset of living a healthy lifestyle or you're not. So it still is this on and off switch kind of thing, which is not really what lifestyle means. Lifestyle is for your entire life. So that's why I want to talk about this. I've gotten a question recently, and I've gotten it before, and I've actually done another episode on how to live a healthy lifestyle. It was way back at the beginning of this podcast with my friend Mindy from Motivation Mindy on Instagram, episode 6, if you want to go to that, and I'll link it in the show notes so you can just click over there really quick. But questions that I get, is one recently that I got was, what motivated you to start doing all the things to live a healthy lifestyle? And I feel like that's such a loaded question. And I want to break down the actual question. So in it was to do all the things to live a healthy lifestyle. So number one, all the things is completely overwhelming. And you know me, and I'm all about taking the overwhelm out, breaking it down, making it simple, making it even simpler than you think so that it sounds almost stupid and ridiculous to do. And you're like, absolutely not. I need more, right? We know that that's where I'm going to go with this. But also, let's talk about motivation for a second. And I responded to that and I said, I'm 0% motivated. Like, especially lately, my motivation has been probably negative, like below zero. I've been in rut after rut this past year. It's been so interesting. Like, fitness and health this past year has been so much more of a mental game for me. Like, I thought I had it down. I thought I had that lesson learned. I thought I was good. And there's another topic for another podcast episode. I had this conversation with a friend last week at lunch about learning lessons, again, that we thought we already learned. How frustrating that is. And I was like, girl, I can relate. So, all right, we've got 2 other podcast episode ideas just from the first 5 minutes of this one. But with that, like, motivation is such a lie that we've been sold. We sit around and wait like, well, I'm not motivated. Well, I'm not motivated. Like, none of us are. And like, I even would go as far to say, get rid of the word motivation from your vocabulary, because it's such a cop-out. It's such a limiting, like, belief in this thing, because it's like, oh, I'm just not motivated. And like, even if you feel that, you're like, well, do it anyway. And then you're like, well, fake it till I make it. You're like, well, it's not really me. And it just feels like this, like, imposter vibe. It just, like, can we all just agree together right here and right now to, like, let's just let motivation and that word fall away for just a few minutes, even for just a week. Like, you don't need motivation, right? Okay. So that comes down to then, what does it mean to live a healthy lifestyle? What does lifestyle even mean? And I think for me, we see the graph of like, what does success look like? And it, we have like the one of what we think it looks like. It is just a straight shot upward. And then there's like what it really is. And it's like this zigzaggy line and up and down. And we're like, oh yeah, we all know. But like, do we really all know? Because it still is a forward trajectory or an upward trajectory, even with those up and downs. Like, the line is still consistently going up. And I think really getting into that mindset of being like, I'm living a healthy lifestyle, which means it's a part of my life. And my life is going to encompass a whole range of emotions, of experiences, of ups and downs and setbacks and like things that just completely knock me over and throw me off. And part of being human, living here on this earth and experiencing life, is experiencing all of that. And so we have to let all of those things play into us living a healthy lifestyle. So it's like, yeah, I can't be on 100%. I can't be going like 75 hard or like challenge all the time. I have to be willing to like let life happen. There's a phrase and a saying that keeps coming to me lately the last couple weeks, and it's like space to be human. And am I giving myself, and others even, but we'll just talk about myself for now, am I giving myself space to be human? And what that even means, and like what that opens me up to being able to experience. And take that and use that however you will, but it's just been a phrase that keeps kind of coming to me. And I think that is something that we can definitely bring into when we're talking about living a healthy lifestyle, because it's like, am I giving myself room in my goal to live a healthy lifestyle, but am I giving myself room to like be human while I'm doing that? Like, am I giving myself the space for that? And, there was a friend I was talking to, and she was saying, I'm struggling with the motivation. I just can't get going. And I've had X, Y, and Z things happen to me. And, since then, it's just knocked me off. And I was like, welcome. Like, number one, let's just pour ourselves a big, huge glass of self-compassion, okay? Because I think that happens so much, right? You're like, oh my gosh, like that happened, whatever the scenario is, right? It could be like, I had a baby 5 years ago. Why can't I do this? Or like, oh, I had a miscarriage, or my marriage fell apart, or we moved, or my husband lost his job, or like insert whatever life event happening that like throws you off of whatever your regular routine was when you felt on top of the world. And it's like, man, I just can't get back to that person that I was. And this is a lesson that I'm learning myself, is not comparing yourself to a previous version of yourself. And this is a lesson I'm learning literally every single day. And it's so incredibly frustrating. And I keep like, my coach knows, like my coach Natalie knows, we've had this conversation so many times, and it's like, I know this. Like in my head, I know this, but it is so dang hard. Like when the past version of myself was quote unquote better than what I am now. And I hate saying that because we are just who we are now. And comparing ourselves to a past version when our circumstances were different is so unfair. It is so unfair for us to put that like expectation on ourselves. And even if our circumstances haven't changed that drastically, like it's still different. We're still a different person. We're not who we were in 2019 and 2018 and 2017 and 2005, whatever like version of yourself that you're comparing yourself to, right? And it's just so unfair to do that to yourself. And I'm like almost just talking to myself with this because that's been something. I was on top of my game in 2019 and 2020, which is hilarious because I felt like during those years was when like the rest of my life was falling completely apart. So I wouldn't want to go back to life then, but I'm like, but I liked my stomach better then. Like that's so ridiculous. But I know I'm not alone in this, right? Like we can't compare ourselves to past versions of ourselves. We can only have compassion for where we are now and love and accept ourselves for where we are now. And the question we should be asking is not why can't I get back to who I was? Why can't I bounce that body back? Why can't I get back into that routine that I was doing so well? Why did this knock me down so much? Instead of asking ourselves those questions, which are just like making ourselves feel like shit and making ourselves feel guilty and crappy and just then spirals us down even farther. Asking ourselves, what can I do today then to help me feel that feeling? Like, what was the feeling I was feeling then? Was I feeling accomplished? Was I feeling confident? Was I feeling like really proud of myself? Was I feeling present? Was I feeling connected to others? Was I feeling like I was like totally locked into my purpose? Like whatever feeling that was, I think if you can go back and lock into that, because that's really what we're chasing, right? We're not really chasing six-pack abs, right? We're chasing how we felt. That's what I'm chasing. I loved that I got dressed and I didn't have like a second thought about it because I wasn't worried about things. So, I mean, it really isn't about the extra 5 pounds or the way my pants aren't zipping up the same, right? But it's more like I was more carefree and I want to feel that more, or I was more confident and I want to feel that more. So then I can ask myself, okay, how can I feel that today? And what's one thing I could do? Not all the things. Not what's this complete overhaul that I can do to get back to that. But it's like, what's one thing I can do that's going to support me in getting that feeling that I want? Guys, this work is so important and it's so hard and so annoying sometimes. I was talking with a friend at lunch and I just said that too. I was like, isn't it so annoying to do this sometimes? Like, wouldn't it just be better to like sit on our couch and like blame the world and just be angry and like go on like mean girl rants on the internet or something? Like wouldn't it be like so much easier to just like blame everyone else and everything else instead of like taking ownership for where we are and how we want to feel and figuring out how to get there? Oh, but alas, this is where we are. So I'm sorry that this episode I hope it feels like me and you are just at lunch together, which is when I have some of the best conversations, is either at lunch or on a walk and talk. So I hope you're walking with me right now, or you're cleaning something. That's always when I listen to. And this is just like a chat. Like we're just hanging out. I'm here with you and we're just kind of chit-chatting together about this topic, about how we can feel healthy and how we can make it be a lifestyle thing. And so yeah, this isn't like a checklist of like do this, and this in this order, which I never do for you. I'll do lists sometimes, but never tell you exactly the order to do or whatever. You know how I feel about rules and one size fits all things. But I don't know. I think the big thing is really that mindset shift, which shocker, right? And shifting that to being able to just be human and shifting your mindset, saying like, hey, living a healthy lifestyle is something that's important to me. And what's the one thing I can do today? And I'll tell you one thing that's really, really powerful for me is visualization. Visualizing, like, just in the morning, even right now, okay? Like, let's think about this. If you're someone that's like, I need to get back on the ball, or I need to whatever, if this is like reaching to you and you're like, yeah, I need to up my game. No, you don't. But if you're thinking that, right? I want to live a healthy lifestyle. I need to get back on the horse. I need to blah, 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 blah. Okay. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to start at like the very beginning of the day. Like, does the alarm go off? Or are you just like rolling out of bed? Like, if you're living your life and you're super happy with where you're at, right? You're at that version of yourself that you want to be at, those feelings that you want to feel, okay? So we're visualizing our day like that. Like, it starts. How does it start? Does your alarm go off? What time does it go off? Do you get right up? Or are you like, you know what? I want to just like wake up when I wake up naturally. Like, I just want to like lean in and like intuitively do that, right? Like, whatever like feels good to you. For me, I roll over, I wake up, I get out of bed. That version of me, the one that's like super confident, happy, fulfilled, healthy, content, connected, calm. I get out of bed in my vision, right? And I open my windows and I let that sunlight pour in. And I'm like immediately grateful for the day. I'm grateful I have another day. Like, my heart is just automatically filled with gratitude. Like, that's the vibe I just want to wake up with. And I turn around and I make my bed and I'm like, oh, this feels so good. I go in and I wash my face and I brush my teeth. This is in my vision. I don't currently do this, but this is like, again, this is where you're like, okay, this is the ideal version of me. And you go through your entire day. And then you get done and you're like, okay, wow, that's like really far. Like, that's a huge gap to bridge from like where I'm currently at, my reality, to like this whole vision person I just dreamt up. But in that, that's when we can like whoosh, take that way down and say, what is the one thing I can do in the next 24 hours? I talked about this in our last episode with Keisha Fitzgerald. If you guys want to go back and listen, we talked about taking action within 24 hours. That was episode 95, if you want to go back to that. But what is one thing I can do in the next 24 hours that was in that like vision that I had for myself? And you guys know, for me, a couple years ago, that was when I began making my bed, because it was the one thing that I could do, one small thing. And it's in my vision now. When I picture myself, that's one of the first things I do, right? So now as I'm thinking about that, I'm like, okay, like this version of me, right? Who's like awesome and happy and healthy and confident, and like got it together and whatever, loving my life, super obsessed with it. Like, the next thing I saw myself doing was walking into the bathroom and like doing a skincare routine, which I currently do not do. So I'm like, okay, could I add that? Could I add that in? Could I just walk in and like even just like quick, like wash my face and then start my day that way? Or is it that you walk downstairs and you have a greens drink, or that you immediately walk outside and like lace up your shoes and go for a morning walk? That sunrise walks, I have a couple of friends that go out and do sunrise walks, and those feel like, I can just feel how amazing they feel for them, you know? So do this. I really want you to do this exercise where you close your eyes and you visualize you as feeling all the things that you are craving to feel, because it comes back to the feeling. And visualize yourself walking through a day in those feelings and what that looks like and who is in that day with you. And then bringing it back to what's the one thing I can add in that's going to get me closer to that feeling. So again, kind of a jumbled conversation here, but what I'm getting from this is I want to live a healthy lifestyle, but I feel stuck. I feel not motivated, and I need help on how to get started. And rather than give you the magic answer, because there's not one, spoiler, sorry if I just like broke your heart and devastated you, I really think if you can identify the feeling that you're chasing, Why do you even want to live a healthy lifestyle? And what does a healthy lifestyle even mean to you? And visualize that and break it down to one thing you can implement in the next 24 hours. I hope that this episode was helpful for you. I hope you can feel my love for you. I think that you are absolutely amazing. The energy, this is going to sound weird, the energy that you bring to this podcast, I can feel. When I'm here recording, like I literally can feel you. And I feel like I am sitting here. I'm just hanging out in my room on a comfy chair. And I'm like literally visualizing that like there's like a whole bunch of you and we're having a sleepover and we're just hanging out chatting. So thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Please slide into my DMs. Let's like keep the conversation going. Fun fact, there is going to be something coming soon that will help us to facilitate these conversations off the podcast more regularly. And I just said slumber party, so that might be a little like hint, that I'm super excited about. It's still kind of like a dream and a vision that I'm working out the details for because I'm a very much dreamer person, and then I have to reel it back and figure out how to actually make it work. So I do want to have these conversations, not just me talking into a mic, but having these conversations back and forth with you. So with that being said, welcome to summer. Welcome to summer, and I hope that you have the best summer ever. We're going to have the best summer ever together. Thank you for listening. Light and love to you. Love you. Mwah. All the things. All the good vibes your way. Thank you for hanging out with me again today. I'm so glad you pressed play. If you want to take a quick second to share this episode with someone you think would love it too, that would be amazing. If you're loving the show, make sure you go and leave a review on iTunes. Reviews are like magic for podcasts, and your review will help get this show into the ears of more amazing women just like you. And come find me over on Instagram. I'm there at positively.jessie, and I cannot wait to hang out with you some more. So until next time, have an amazing week.